Well, you drive around. If it's single-family homes, look how many subdivisions there are where you live. The possibilities are endless. Once you realize that closings happen every single day, and prospects are everywhere, you now have faith that being successful in real estate might be a little easier than you thought. You start going through the steps of the closing formula. You start finding prospects and making calls. But what do you say and how do you talk to prospects? Don't worry, this is what I'm here for. To help you through this process and get you to a place in your career where you can enjoy a consistent income. Before I get into what you should say to prospects when you call them, I want to throw a few facts out as food for thought. A study recently showed that 90% of real estate business generated in today's market is generated the old-fashioned way through mailouts and phone calls. Now think about that for a minute. Almost all business generated in today's world of technology is generated by snail mail and personal phone calls. All the other types of real estate business combined only generate the other 10%. This should be a breakthrough moment for you. You now know where a 90% market share of the business comes from. Social media, websites, and other tech-based marketing methods have their place. But now you know how small that place is in relative terms. So where would you pour most of your efforts if you had a choice? Into the 90%, right? Look, I am telling you where the business is. All you have to do is take action. It's right there in front of your nose. With 90% of the results would be okay if mailouts and phone calls were all you focused on. I personally spend very little time on social media and technology, and I don't pay for any leads. Leads you pay for are not the quality leads you want. So let's look deeper into the 90%, mailouts and phone calls. When you send mailings, on average, your success rate will be around 3% over the long term, 3 to 5 years. Not bad, but not that great either. So success depends on how many mailouts you are sending and what you are putting on your mailouts. Also, it takes an average of 7 pieces of mail before a prospect really gets your name stuck in their head. However, if you add a simple phone call into the mix, your success rate jumps to 3%. It's a whopping 18%. This is astonishing. A call makes all the difference. It could be as simple as the call to ask if they have been receiving your mail and if anything you can do for them. With simple and free act, you've increased your success rate by 600%. Bells should be going off in your head right now. The business is already tough enough. If there is a way that you can up your chances of success by 600% for free, there is no way that you should allow that opportunity to pass you by. Now you know where 90% of the business is and how to increase your chance of success in that area by 6,000% or 600%. This business is much easier than most agents make it. The trick is that it is mostly mental. Understanding how business is created, setting your mind to the Nike slogan, just do it, and having the ability to duplicate the creation process repeatedly like a machine, these mental efforts separate the high producers from the low. For extreme efficiency, the perfect and doable number of calls to make is 20 to 30 calls each day, 2 to 3 days a week. You may want to do more in the beginning of your career. There were several days early in my career when I made 50 to 100 calls. I had that kind of hunger for success. However, regardless of how experienced or inexperienced you are, 20 to 30 calls 2 to 3 days a week is enough to produce high results without taking up very much time at all. This still leaves you time on the remaining days for other business tasks. They are the most efficient numbers I have found that work. You should find what works for you and the level you wish to reach. At the minimum, I lost my spot. Okay, we know we must make phone calls in order to survive the business, even in our main source of leads come from the internet. Without calling them, you will not succeed even a medium level, much less a very high level. Now it's time to target the people you want to call and find phone numbers. The best way to find a person's phone number is online. There are dozens of great websites that will help you locate phone numbers based on limited information. Go to Google, put in reverse phone lookup, and you'll see options. You are not actually using the reverse phone lookup feature. That's when a number shows up on your caller ID and you want to know their name. But the same online companies also provide a very simple way to type in a name or address to find the likely phone number associated with it. Some of these sites are free and some charge a fee. The offers and terms change, which is why I suggest you Google it for yourself. If you don't know the name of the owner or a particular piece of property, go to the county tax records. These are also found easily online at the official government website for your country or county. You enter the address, and sometimes the current owner's name is shown. Some counties may also show a phone number, but in most cases you will then take the name back to the reverse phone number site. Oh my gosh, you scared me. Hi. It scared me. I was wondering what that was. Knowing both the name and the address increases the chance of finding correct phone numbers. Also, ask your broker what systems and website your company uses to find owner information. Search high and low. If you can find a directory of a group of people, it's extremely helpful. Civic club memberships, church directories. Most churches give these to their members. Chamber of Commerce directories, social groups, etc. Find the numbers and get ready to call and connect. Okay, it's time to make your calls. You have blocked out a few hours and everything else is on the back burner. It's good to turn your emails and other distractions off during this time. Your laser-like focus, your sole purpose is to get through these 20 to 30 calls without a single distraction. Now it's time for your pre-call ritual. This is where you take a minute or two to think about what you're doing and what you should be aiming to say during the calls. During this time, you want to breathe deep breaths and relax. You do not want to be nervous once you start making calls. The person on the other end of the phone can hear it if you're nervous by the tone of your voice. It is hard to hide it. At the same time, you don't have to have stage fright because they are seeing your face or judging you with critical eye a stage performer must face. But if you talk too fast or a high-pitched voice, you will have a hard time connecting with anyone on the phone. While people can't see you, experts say the way you look does affect the way you sound. If you were dressed in your bathrobe, you sound less professional than if you were dressed in a professional attire and sitting upright. People can hear your smile over the phone. They can hear it in your voice. Try it with a friend. Call them and see if they can point out when you are smiling and when you are not. You can also hear the mood of the person you call. Pay close attention to their tone and play into it accordingly. The entire philosophy behind making sales calls in real estate is the following. You are not selling anything. You are not calling prospects to find out if they want to do business with you today. The only underlying reason for your call is to find out if they ever want to do future business with you. You are not calling to see if they want to buy or sell property today. You are not calling to see if they would consider you as a realtor if they decided to buy or sell. Sure, you might later ask these types of questions to get a reaction, and you may stumble upon someone who is ready to pull the trigger today. However, your sole purpose is to have a conversation and find out if you connect enough to continue a relationship and maybe do some business down the road. This should not take much of the nervousness of making calls away. This is not a typical sales call. You are not a telemarketer. You are offering them yourself and your service, not a Ronco, Veggie Mac, or a ShamWow cleaner. You are simply checking with people to see if there is anything you can do for them now or in the future and initiate or solidify a relationship. You can cheerfully conclude, okay, we will stay in touch via email, mailouts, and by phone, and of course show gratitude for the good conversation. Thank you for the great conversation. These are all kinds of phone call scripts. I have tried them all. The less canned or rehearsed they sound, the better. But there are methods that I have created with a combination of many scripts I have tried mixed with a bit of what I found that works. Hey. The 5 most important words you can ever use when making your calls is, how are you doing today? This is my secret weapon and has made me very successful. When the prospect answers the phone, I will start with Mr. Smith. Hi, Mr. Smith. This is Ricky Caruth with Remax. How are you doing today? I say this very clearly. I even slow it down so they hear my name and company I am with. Sometimes I don't say it as clear as they need, and they ask, who is this? This is when I tell them I'm sorry, and then I repeat the entire line a second time, just a little slower, and pause. After the initial pleasantries, I'm going to go with the flow from there, but what I usually like to do is start talking about the weather. Yes, the weather. I have found that everyone can relate to weather, and it gives some common ground to start a conversation. If it is a real nice day, I'll say something like, great. I'm doing well too, just enjoying the good weather outside. Isn't it gorgeous outside? If it's a rainy day, we'll say something like, just trying to stay dry over here. It's nasty out there. Or I might even ask them, are you staying dry today? Believe it or not, most of the time the prospect will engage in a short conversation with you about the weather. I like this approach, and it works well for me to break the tension of a sales call. It's non-threatening. People always want to know about the weather. They want to know what it's doing, what it did, what it's going to do. There's an incredible icebreaker and should be used on every call you make. Once you get to the end of the weather part of the call, it's time to transition to the reason for your call. You don't want to start the transition too early and interrupt them. Also, do not want to start too late and allow for awkward pauses. You want the conversation to flow naturally and comfortably. The only way to get better at this is by making more calls and practicing. I know it's not easy for everyone to get on the phone and make it happen, but remember, 600%. The transition to the reason for your call should be smooth and confident. When you reach at the end of the weather conversation, which should last 5 seconds or 5 minutes, go right into it. Mr. Smith, I did not want to take up too much of your time today, but I want you to master this transition. You will use this every time. Insert the reason for the call immediately after the phrase. Your reason should be in the form of a question. Target your prospects with reasons that will interest them. Here are some examples of reasons to contact prospects. I've been sending you mail for some time, and I want to make sure you're receiving it. Is there anything I can do for you at this time? I was calling today to let you know that 3 houses have sold in your subdivision this year, and just wanted to see if there's anything I could do for you. I was calling today to let you know that there's a house for sale in your neighborhood and wondering if you or anyone you know may be interested in it. I was calling to let you know that a condo in your complex just sold for the highest price in years, so I wanted to reach out to you and see if you're considering selling anytime soon. I was calling today to let you know that I have already sold 15 houses so far this year in your area and just wanted to see if there's anything I could do for you today. I was calling today to let you know that an agent in my office has a buyer looking for a condo in your complex, so I wanted to see if you guys have considered selling lately. I was calling today because your house is for sale by owner. Would you work with me if I bought a buyer? When can I see the house? I was calling today because I see your property expired from the market and would like to know if you're still interested in selling. These are all good examples of reasons to call. You can come up with hundreds of reasons. Reasons are a dime a dozen. The trick is to come up with a reason that fits the targeted group of prospects that you are contacting and run with it. Don't spend any time perfecting the reason to call. Over time, you'll find the ones that work best for you. Remember this, it doesn't really matter so much what you say, but how you say it. Staying calm and relaxed during the call, but showing energy and passion at the right moments will give a good impression. Once you give the reason, it's time to sit back and listen to their reaction. The conversation can go 1,000 different directions at this point. But now we have talked to them enough to know if there's any kind of connection or not. Our job at this point is to talk to them further so we can get to know them as much as we can from time to time on the phone. Once the conversation has run its course, it's time to end the call. I call this the relationship building part of my call. After a great conversation, the time comes to an end. I will say, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Smith. Would it be okay if I stayed in touch with you about the market? This is a great ending to a great call. Depending on the answer, you might ask for additional information such as a cell phone number and email address. Another great way to end the call is to make them commit. Commit to what? Commit to using you as their agent in the future. When you make the prospect commit to you verbally, that you will be the agent they will work with in the future, it creates a bond of their word. My dad told me a long time ago that people are only as good as their word. When they tell you they will use your services when they decide to buy or sell property and you stay in touch with them until that day comes, they have very little choice in the matter. They already gave you their word, and very few people go back on the word unless you fail to stay in touch. Here is how you do it. When you tell them the reason of your call and they say that they are just not interested, then you say the following. I understand. Well, one day you will buy or sell property in the area, and I would like the opportunity to work with you when that day comes. Do you have an agent that you work with? The statement in question will get the root of where you stand with the prospect. If they tell you they have a very close friend who is an agent or that they have some really great relationship with another agent, great. This tells you that they may be wasting your time with this person. If they say they do not have an agent or that they have an agent but haven't really talked to them in a long time, perfect. This is your opportunity to ask them the following. Well, if I stay in touch with you about the market. Would you consider me your agent when the day comes? This will put you in the driver's seat with the client and the green light to stay in touch with them for future deals. Asking them what day they are available for lunch is also a great way to end the call. Tell them you would like to put a face with the name and get to know them a little more. You are never wasting time by having lunch with a prospect. If you can fill up your lunch calendar every day with prospects and clients, it will be a better service to them. This FaceTime will help you understand and accomplish their goals. Here's an example of an entire script. Hello, Mr. Smith? Yes, it's Mr. Smith. Hey, Mr. Smith, this is Ricky Carruth with Remax. How are you doing today? We are good. Doing good, Ricky. How about you? I'm doing great as well. Thanks for asking. Just enjoying this beautiful weather we have today. Isn't it gorgeous? It sure is, Ricky. You know it's supposed to rain tomorrow, but they never know. Might go fishing this evening. That sounds fun. Where are you going to fish? Just up the lake. Oh, that sounds like fun, Mr. Smith. Well, listen, I don't want to take up too much of your time today, but a house on your road sold last week, and I didn't know if there's anything I could do for you at this time. Hey, that's good that the house sold. Thank you for the information. I don't think there's anything you can help us with now, but thank you for your call. Oh, no problem, Mr. Smith. Thank you for your time today. Let me ask you, is there an agent in your area who you have a relationship with already? Well, we have talked to a few, but don't really have a relationship with any of them. I see. Well, one day you will decide to buy or sell, and I would like the opportunity to work with you when that day comes. Would it be okay if I stayed in touch with you via email? Absolutely. Please stay in touch. Great. What's your email address? mrsmith@abc.com. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Hey, would you be available for a lunch one day soon? I would like to put a face with the name and get to know each other a little better. Absolutely. Okie dokie. Thanks, Mr. Smith. I will talk with you soon. Have a good day. That's it. Gotta start inviting people to lunch now. Who wants to go to lunch? We have to have a full lunch calendar. Of course, this is just one example, but it demonstrates the main elements of the call, which include identifying the prospect, introducing oneself, asking how they're doing, chatting about the weather, transitioning to, give the reason for the call, seeing where the conversation goes, identify if they already have an agent, getting their email address, and asking them to lunch. This is my bread and butter when it comes to making calls. You can use this script for any type of call. You can use it for cold calls, expired listings, FISBOs, friends, family, etc. This is a great conversation and relationship starter. I have built my entire business on this model. When you think about the nature of the call script, you will find that it's everything you want your reputation to embody. It presents you as a hardworking, honest, easy to deal with, and low pressure, all in one phone call. Take this and use it. It is very powerful. Also, if you do not get an answer, always leave a voicemail. Just say something like, hey, Mr. Jones, this is Ricky Carruth with Remax. If you could give me a call back when you get a chance at 555-555-5555. Chances are they will not call you back, but they do hear your name in the message when they delete it. So if you hear your name, see signs, and see your mail outs, you may eventually win them over. You are making calls, you are not finding clients. You are also learning how to make better calls. During this time, you will be creating long-term relationships and build a strong business, so don't hesitate. Get on the phone. The more calls you make, the more confidence you'll have. Practicing your scripts with other agents, overcome your fears by increasing your skills and confidence. If you follow the recipe here, there will come a time when your confidence and skills will overwhelm your fear you had, and $1 million agent will emerge. Thank you. See you tomorrow, 8 p.m. for Chapter 6. Oh. This is so cool. This is like my all-in-one toolkit. This is what you needed if you want to be a lead worker when I worked for water distribution. So it's like pliers and thingies and clippers, okay? And that's when you open it, and then you close it so you can put it in your pocket. And this has been really great for real estate. I've actually used this. So that's a saw. Might need to saw something. It's a pokey thingy. There's a ring. Don't know what that's for. Bottle openers or just little openers for things. And then on this one, there's like a knife. You never know when you need just to like cut your something. and then a nail file, and then this screwdriver. That's probably the most useful thing on here, and another saw. So these are awesome. And this one's pink camo, and I just love it. And it came with a flashlight too. So these little all-in-one tools are just really amazing, and I always take it with me because you never know. You never know. Cool. All right, guys, have a great week. God bless you. God bless America. And just be a millionaire.